Everyone, this is Katie with Empowering Astrology, and this is your weekly look at the astrology, the week of September 30th through October 6, 2019. So we're about to go into a new month, October, and maybe you could look at our time together today as a little bit of a sneak preview of what to expect. I'm almost done with your monthly horoscopes. So we do have a few things going on this week. We actually just came off of a Libra new moon. So we're in Libra season right now. We're focusing on relationships. We're focusing on connection. We're focusing on what other people need besides myself. I mean, that's the whole point of Libra season, is to, or at least the sign of Libra, is to teach us about what other people need and how do we negotiate those needs. Because Aries, the sign of the self, Aries is the opposite sign of Libra. Aries is always, okay, what do I need? How do I go and get what I need? How do I take the lead? How do I take action? Which is fine, but we can't do that all the time. We have to learn to work with other people and negotiate and to compromise with people to find consensus. Libra is ruled by Venus, and right now Venus is also in Libra. So Venus is very strong in the sky. So it's very important that we kind of look towards, what is the most peaceful outcome? How do we make everybody happy within reason? Because not everybody can be happy. Hi, Judy, waving from the West Coast, and I'm waving from New York City. If for those of you who don't know who I am and don't know my work, I've been thinking about this recently. I was traveling, speaking in the West Coast. I was in California last week. I was at a wedding, for a very, very good friend of mine. I was also with other good friends. And when you're in those social situations, Libra, and people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm an astrologer. And so you get into the inevitable conversations about what does that mean? And, I think a lot of what I do is educating people. Like there's the element of education in what we do here on these live videos and the stuff that I post on my Facebook page, on my website, on Instagram, on Twitter. But a lot of it is educating what astrology is, in particular what kind of astrology that I do and why do I call it empowering astrology. So maybe this is a good chance to, let's say, talk to you all more about what I do, because I think that this stuff is woven into the work that I do when I write a horoscope. And somebody made a comment today, I think it was Ali, on my Facebook page about when there's not much going on, I'll pop some champagne. And I get that comment, and I know I get a lot of kind of comments from people. It's like, when is it gonna be easy? Now, here's kind of where I'm coming at. I believe, and of course it's just my opinion, I believe that we're in a particular time in human history where a lot has to change. Sort of the old patterns, the old consciousness, the old way of doing it's not working anymore. So we're all, individually and collectively doing our work. And so, I think that because we're in this particular time in human history, it's almost like somebody turned up the treadmill and suddenly we're all at a steep incline right now, and it's tiring and it's hard work, and I definitely can empathize, because I'm a human being as well doing my work. So empowering astrology is about, from let's say particularly from the perspective of our own natal chart, let's say the snapshot of the heavens at the moment that we're born. How do we keep kind of coming back, because every year, every month, depending on, whether it's the moon or the sun or another planet, we're going to keep returning to parts of this chart, parts of this map, parts of you. And the more that you, let's say, shift and work on these different parts of the chart, the more you're going to have a very different relationship with those parts of your life. And each year it might be a bit different. And so that's why I talk about, what can we take consciousness about of this time? How can we look beneath the surface? Because the idea is that, next year when we go into Libra season, we've grown and we've matured so that we have a very different experience. Maybe it's a small difference, or maybe it's a great difference with how we open up and interact with people. So it's just, it's my philosophy and my belief, and this is from personal experience as well, is that the more that we work on each planet in our chart and bringing awareness, bringing consciousness, bringing transformation, the more that we grow, and the more that the higher potential of our chart starts to open up. So that's it's kind of my philosophy. So that's when I'm writing everything, monthly, daily, I'm coming from that perspective. How can we look at the deeper side of things? I'm a Scorpio, so that's just naturally what I do. So yeah, maybe sometimes it's just like, oh man, like I just want to chill. And of course, you can certainly chill out, and there's certain signs that are good for that. So yeah, when I'm in these social settings and I explain that I'm an astrologer and what makes my astrology different, I'm using this very ancient language to help give a new perspective to life, my life, collective life, everybody's life. And astrology just teaches us about time. So just saying hi to people in the chat. Yes, my mom is here. Hi, Mom. Libra natal moon. I'm part of the Libra, Pluto and Libra generation. Pluto and Libra generation is 1972-73 up until I believe it's 1983, 84. So we're part of, I'm part of a cohort of people who are having to learn deep lessons about relationship, Pluto and Libra. And even if you go back in time and you look at the history of that time, we saw a lot of changes and transformation and how people interacted on a relationship level. And this is a little bit gendered, and I'm not trying to be overly gendered, but how people, especially women, the opportunities that were available to them. So just checking in on the chat. So my dad is listening too. So Libra season is a time when we, let's say, check in on all the relationships of our life. And even if you aren't Libra, or you don't have Pluto in Libra, or you don't have a moon or whatever, Libra is somewhere in your chart. So that's why Libra season is going to activate certain areas, and it's going to be through the prism of relationship that you, let's say, focus on money, or you focus on career, for example. But let's talk about the astrology this week. It's very relationship-y, if that's a word. So what's going on? So tomorrow, the 1st of October, Venus squares Pluto. There's Pluto again. So there's, I think, a helicopter. So what is Venus square Pluto? So right now, Pluto is in Capricorn. It's actually been in Capricorn since 2008. And Venus is in Libra. So this week, especially with the energies of the new moon, we have to look at power dynamics in our relationships, because Libra is a sign that wants equity for relationships. There has to be a give and take. There has to be a balance. And if there isn't, something's not, let's say, healthy. Maybe, this is, it's on the strong side of things, but maybe something's abusive. So maybe something, somebody's not getting what they need. So Venus square Pluto is, Pluto meaning this planet that helps us to shed light on the things that maybe are uncomfortable, maybe the things that we don't want to look about at ourselves or look at a relationship. But in that process, we're able to transform it. So these Plutonian weeks, these Plutonian days, we're doing our transformation work. And in this case, it happens to be relationships. And I will say all relationships, because I think it's important to distinguish that the word relationship doesn't necessarily mean romantic partnership. It's how do we interact with everybody, especially on a one-on-one level. So Pluto is a strong player this week in general. It's turning direct on October 3rd at 20 degrees of Capricorn. So when any planet stations direct, it saturates the collective with the energies of that planet. And Pluto is about looking at the shadow side of life. The shadow is a very psychological term. It means the things within themselves that we don't want to look at, the things that you can show up in relationships because we've been disconnected. It's somebody, for instance, that isn't able to express their anger and then attracts a series of relationships where the partner has an anger problem. That's a very, a good example of Pluto and the shadow at work in a relationship. So these are moments to kind of put light on that thing and be like, oh, for example, let's say it's me, like, oh, I'm not owning my anger, I'm not owning my power, let me take it back. Because right now somebody else is doing that for me, for example. So when Pluto turns direct, we're also seeing some things going on where things can be uncovered, things that have been hidden. It could be hidden abuses, it could be hidden abuses of power, because Capricorn is power, it's structure. So we're also transforming and looking at how the structures of our life and the structures of things. So it's kind of a big week. In addition, Mars squares Libra, not Mars, Mars goes into Libra. So right now, we've started this Libra month, and I did mention this in the last live video. Mars going into Libra is going to start to activate eclipse degrees. So I think I mentioned this, or I was having this conversation with somebody else, that we're getting a little bit of an eclipse bump. So if you remember, let's say January, or if you remember this past July, this Mars going into Libra is going to kind of activate some of the stories and the energies from that time. So this week, next week, things might be at a turning point. We might see stories or have experiences that kind of shift the narrative. I mean, the thing about eclipse energy is that it makes things move fast. It makes, it opens doors, it closes doors, new opportunities come in. I like an eclipse energy can, let's say, correlate or coincide with milestones in our life. It could be the birth of a baby, it could be a marriage, it could be a new job. So it doesn't have to necessarily mean, something negative. But know that the narrative, over the next few weeks might be quite swift. Things might be happening quite quickly. You might be thinking on your toes. So yeah, let me know in the comments how it's going for you. I know that we're very early into Libra season, but I know that maybe some things are coming up for you as well. Venus is not going to be in Libra for much longer. It's going to go into Scorpio on October 8th, which is next week. So this whole, I think the Pluto turning direct this week is going to echo some of the work that we're doing when Venus goes into Libra on October 8th. Venus goes into Scorpio on October 8th. So this idea of doing transformation work, looking at the darker side of relationships, healing old relationship patterns, looking at maybe some issues around abuses of power. Again, Libra is a sign of balance, so it's a sign that fundamentally wants balance. So hello, Katya. Hello, Joanna. Nice to see some familiar faces on this feed. So yeah, and then I also this week the Sun will make what's called a square to the lunar nodes. So that's again, the lunar nodes are very much intrinsic to the eclipses. So it's a turning point week. I'm going to be going more deeply into the astrology of October in my webinar tomorrow. If you've never joined me for a webinar, they are great. Sorry, that's not a really big sell, but I've gotten a really great feedback from people who are using it to learn about astrology, but also to get more deeper into certain topics. And I'm doing the one it's a look at, like a sign-by-sign look at October, because I got some feedback from people that they wanted a little bit more of a, let's say, a deeper dive into the monthly astrology beyond, let's say, the horoscopes that I do. So that's something that I'll be doing. But I think that October, again, a bit of a turning point for people. We do have Mercury retrograde later this month. Right now my brain is very much in the writing of the horoscopes, so this might be a shorter Facebook Live than the past. But again, I did want to have an opportunity to talk about the type of work that I do, because I realize that that's not always something that I get to articulate. I'm too busy, let's say, writing about the astrology as opposed to explaining on a deeper level, how did I come to this philosophy? How do I see astrology in a certain way? And it all came from, because when I was a teenager reading about, let's say, many Saturn squares in my chart, and you read like terrible interpretations of it, that I was like, this can't be the only way. So really learning to reframe a lot of stuff to be real. This isn't rose-colored glasses. This is, what is the deeper meaning? What is the deeper story? So just checking in on the chat. Yes, nice to see you all. Nice to have this opportunity to connect. Hope you can join me for my webinar tomorrow. Although the links are in the notes for this video. You can always book a consultation with me, sign up for my newsletter. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, and we will do this again next week. So until then, bye.